Canada is falling apart faster than you think. We used to believe something about Canada. We believe that if you work hard, follow the rules, get an education, you'll be fine. Maybe not rich, but stable. I think that belief is dead, and not in a dramatic way, quietly, structurally, because here's the uncomfortable truth. Canada is not just going through a rough patch. It's getting poorer per person in real terms. That's the first lie we need to kill. When politicians point to GDP growth, they're technically telling the truth. The economy is bigger, but the reason it's bigger is because we imported millions of people. Your slice of the pie is actually smaller. Between 2020 and 2024, GDP per person in Canada dropped more than at any point since the Great Depression. That's not just like a vibe, that's data. So if you feel like you're working harder just to stay in the same place, that's because you are. And the system is designed to gaslight you about it, just like me in relationships. Now, here's where it gets worse. The real problem is not inflation, it's productivity. Productivity is just a fancy word for how much value you create per hour. And that sets the ceiling for wages. Canada produces about $143,000 per worker, while the US produces almost $200,000. That gap explains everything. Why Americans make more, why housing hurts more here, why taxes they feel heavier, and why talent leaves. And the reason productivity is collapsing is simple. Businesses are not investing. Capital is fleeing. Now regulation is choking growth. It's like stopping growth from happening because we blocked oil, we stalled LNG, we buried mining projects, we promised a transition and built nothing on the other side. So now we have neither the old economy nor the new economy. We just got vibes, we got consultants, and we got pronouns. And yes, we need to talk about the carbon tax because whether you like it or not, the Parliamentary Budget Officer confirmed something important. Once you factor in lost wages, lost investment, and lost growth, most households lose money. Not feel like they lose money, they actually lose money. So when people tell you, you get it back, well, that's only true if you ignore the economy you live inside of. Now, let's talk about housing, because this is where the social contract really just snapped. Boomers used to say,
back in the day, we had 18% interest and we managed.
That sounds scary until you do the math. They bought homes at 3 to 4 times their income. Now you're looking at 10 times your income. See, they needed a couple of years to save a down payment. You probably need decades. That's the fucking difference. They fought interest. You're fighting the principle, which means home ownership is not longer a goal. It's an inheritance strategy. And this is where things turn political, whether we like it or not, because housing policy created a classed system based on age. Older Canadians are asset rich. Younger Canadians are rent trapped. And people vote to protect what they own. So when zoning never changes, when supply stays frozen, when immigration explodes without infrastructure, that's not incompetence. Those are just incentives. Now layer on government bloat. Since 2015, public service exploded. Consultants exploded. DEI budgets exploded. And yet passports collapse. Now healthcare collapses. Public safety collapses. We have a government that's bigger, more expensive, and somehow worse at everything that actually matters. Like healthcare is the best example. People are dying on wait lists, tens of thousands. I'm not even this is not hypothetically speaking, this is like literally. Last time I went to the hospital because I threw my back out, it took 13 hours to see a doctor. They had 2 doctors and there was 130 people triaged. So you do the math. You got to be this close to death in Canada to be able to see a doctor on time. I thought high taxes were supposed to buy security. Instead, they bought administration. And while all of this is happening, we decided to regulate speech, regulate news, regulate the internet, but we're not fixing housing, we're not fixing productivity, let alone fixing healthcare. See, that tells you what the priority stack really is. Now, here's the part that nobody wants to say out loud, but I'll say it out loud because I'm a bad hombre. This right here created an intergenerational war. Boomers, they vote for stability. Gen Zs are voting for disruption because if the system gives you nothing, you stop trying to preserve it. Now, young men are becoming extremely hard conservative, and young women are just as far left as they can be. Older voters, they cling to the status quo. That's not ideology, that's just economics. And here's the real tragedy. Canada is not poor. Man, like we're sitting on over $1 trillion in natural resources, critical minerals, energy, LNG that the world is begging for. That money could fund healthcare, housing, infrastructure. Instead, it's just trapped underground by politics, fucking liberal woke culture. Now, this leads me to the final signal of decline, the brain drain. If you're talented, ambitious, productive, Canada is telling you something very clearly. You're a cost center, you're not an asset. Doctors are leaving, engineers, founders, and every person who leaves makes the problem worse. Now, here's the part I want to end on because I don't want this video to be like a doom, end of the world, fucking fear-mongering video like a lot of people do, right? Canada is falling apart, but it doesn't mean that it's finished. Sometimes systems have to break before they reset. The youth vote is waking up. Immigration targets are quietly changing. Energy policy is quietly changing. The panic in Ottawa tells you everything you need to know. And despite everything, tech still growing. AI hubs are still here. And the talent still exists. The resources are in the ground. And the tools to fix this still exist. So the real question is not, is Canada broken? The real question is, what does that mean for you and I? It means the old path is gone. The guarantees are gone. The complacency is gone. And that fucking sucks. But it also means the rebuild belongs to the people who see the truth early. The decline is as real as it gets, but it's reversible. The next version of Canada won't be built by comfort. It'll be built by pressure. And that's where we are now. This is Chris. This is Bad Hombres TV. I'll see you next time. Peace.
This is the Bad Hombre Podcast.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?